So today what we're going to learn is how to take three physics formulas and combine them into one simple diagram that will help us to remember them. But before we get started, there's a couple of things that you need to know. First, there's a few symbols that you have to know in order to understand these formulas. The first being V, which really stands for velocity, but in our case, we're going to calculate it as speed. The next is a lowercase d, and that lowercase d stands for distance. And finally, a triangle and a T, which stands for change in time. Now, a couple things to point out. The lowercase d, always make sure that when you're talking about distance, it's a lowercase d. If you accidentally put an uppercase d, you'd be talking about density, and you don't want to do that. Also, a lowercase t is very important because that means time. Capital T would mean temperature. And this triangle is the delta symbol, and it means change. So anytime you see that triangle in front of any letter, it means change, and in this case, it means change of time. So when we're talking about these formulas and calculating speed, distance, and change in time, it's really hard to remember which letter goes in which place, and these three formulas can be very confusing. So I've come up with a really easy way to remember these. And the way that we do that is we draw this nice triangle, and the first thing we're going to do is we always remember we got to put that lowercase d at the top, and that's the distance. And then in the bottom left hand corner, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our v for velocity, and over here in the bottom right hand corner, we're going to put our delta t, or our change in time. And the way that we remember this is we're going to put a division symbol here, a division symbol here, and a multiplication symbol here. And so what that's going to tell us is that if we're giving any two pieces of this triangle, we can figure out the third very, very easily. For example, if I'm given the distance and the time, I can figure out velocity very easy by going distance divided by change in time will give me the velocity. Distance divided by change in time will give me the velocity. Same thing goes here. If I'm given the distance and I'm given the velocity, if I do distance divided by velocity, it's going to go ahead and give me the change in time. And finally, if I'm given the speed and I'm also given the change in time, then I can do speed or velocity times change in time, and that's going to give me the distance. And this nice little triangle here will help us to remember those three formulas and make them very simple for us to understand.